Hey, it's Katie, and welcome back to my booktube channel. Today is day 6 of Bookmas, which means I will be talking about my most surprising reads of 2020. So let's get started. At number 7, we have Even If the Sky Falls by Mia Garcia, and I kind of went into this knowing I would like it because it's like a cute love story that takes place in New Orleans, which is a place I've always wanted to go, but it was a romance that took place over 24 hours, so I was kind of skeptical about that, but I ended up really, really liking it and feeling like the pace was really good, so that was kind of surprising to me. And it's also surprising that I still talk about how much I love this book, even though I read this so many months ago, because it's such like a quick read, so that's why it's on my most surprising reads of 2020. For number 6, we have An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. And I had heard a lot of really, really great things about this book, which is why I ended up getting it in the first place. But because it focuses on somebody who's like a soldier in this military academy, which is something I really didn't think I would be too into, I was very surprised by how much I thoroughly enjoyed this. And also, it was kind of surprising to me that I read basically every single word in this book because, like I've said before, that's not something I typically do. I skip over some like descriptive passages. So the fact that her writing was so amazing and it made me read every single word that she wrote, that was just very surprising to me. Up next at number 5, we have Frostblood by Ellie Blake. And I picked this one up on a whim. I was at a bookstore and I went through the bargain section and this was only like $3, I think. I found this and Fireblood, which is book 2 in the series. So that's really the only reason I picked them up. I hadn't heard anything about them, but I really, really enjoyed them. So that's why it was super surprising for me because I did not plan on buying them and it was still a super great purchase. Number 4 is All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban. And this one was a birthday gift, I think. So since I didn't buy it myself, I wasn't really sure how much I would like it. Also, it involves 6 high school kids that all fit a different stereotype, so I wasn't really sure how that would go or if it would be super cliche. But I ended up really, really enjoying it. It was super intense, and honestly, even though it was intense, I think it was paced really well because it would flash back between present day when this intense thing was happening and the past where they all kind of were intertwined with each other and you could see their relationships kind of blossom from the beginning. And I loved that. And also there's a huge plot twist at the end, and throughout the whole book my heart was just racing super fast and I felt like my Fitbit thought I was running around or something, but I was just reading a book, and that usually does not happen to me when I read. So it was just really surprising how much I loved this. We are now in my top 3 most surprising reads. So number 3 is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. And I picked this one up just because I wanted some festive things to read for Hall Reads this year. And this really is not something I would have typically picked up. It's like a thriller and also maybe like historical fiction. I'm not good at figuring out book genres, but basically not something I usually would read just for fun in my free time. But I ended up really enjoying it. I don't know, even though it was super gross in some moments and some of the pictures were gross, it was so well written and it was kind of like a whodunit story. I don't know where that phrase came from. But it kept me guessing. That's how well written it was. I usually feel like I could figure out like who usually is the killer or whatever, but in this I couldn't. I kept thinking I had it figured out and then that's not who it was. So it kept me guessing. It was super good, and there was also a little bit of romance that I had to root for. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed it, and I'm going to continue the series, which is something else that's surprising to me. At number 2, we have The Coldest Girl in Coldtown by Holly Black, which involves vampires, and prior to reading this, the only vampire books I'd really read was the Twilight series, which I loved at the time, but now I feel like it's kind of cliche. I mean, they literally glitter in the sun, and I feel like that's kind of weird. That's not really how vampires should be thought of, I feel like. So I went into this book kind of not sure how I'd feel about it, especially because I have had this on my shelf for years. So finally picking it up, I was kind of cautious. But I feel like it was really well written. It had darker undertones, which I wasn't expecting, but I found really enjoyable. and it was intense at times. There was a romance, but it wasn't the main part of the story. It wasn't driven by the romance, which I thought was really fun. And I don't know, I just remember loving this book and talking about it for so many days after I was done reading it. So definitely caught me off guard, and it's a great read. Before I tell you guys what my most surprising read of 2020 is, I want you guys to guess. So put your guesses in the comments. Is it A, Children of Blood and Bone, B, Saint Anything, or C, Caraval? If you guys have watched literally any of my videos, you probably know that it is C, Caraval by Stephanie Garber. And this one's my most surprising read because I had this on my shelf for about a year and picked it up at the beginning of quarantine. And I wasn't really sure how I'd feel about it, but this is the book that got me back into reading and inspired me to start my booktube channel. So I owe a lot to this book, and I was honestly really surprised by how much I loved it that it made me get back into reading. So that is why it's my most surprising read of 2020. So those are my most surprising reads of 2020. Comment below what your most surprising read of the year is. I'd love to hear it. For day 7 of Bookmas, I will be doing the Christmas movie book tag, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and click the notification bell so you know when I upload next. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in my next video.